Welcome. The technique that I'll be teaching you today is called the wet on wet method. This is a good place to start if you're new to royal icing. We'll go through step by step on how to make this set. For this class, you'll need red, white, and light green for the design. First, we'll start with the snowflake. You'll take your white piping frosting and you'll outline the cookie. You don't have to do the whole cookie in one long line. You can stop at every joint and start from where you ended. Just make sure where you stop that you start up again and connect those two corners to make that barrier for your flooding. The next step you'll do is to flood your cookie. So grab your white flooding icing and you'll start around the edges of your cookie. You'll go around the whole cookie and don't go too close to the edge if you're still new to royal icing. You can go a little bit in from the edge, go around the outline, and then work your way into the center. Next, grab your scribe or your boo-boo stick, as I like to call it. And you'll do small circles to drag the royal icing to the edges. This will give you that nice, pretty finish. And it won't quite cover all of the lines, but you can get it as close as you can, especially as you practice more, to get it on top of that line. You don't want to push it too close up and over the line because you don't want it to overflow. Just get it to that barrier. So for the wet on wet method, you don't need to wait for your icing to dry. Go ahead and grab your flooding icing that's red or green. And you're going to start in the middle with a dot, and then you're going to work your way out from the middle to the edges. After you've added all of the dots, you'll take your boo-boo stick and you'll start at one edge. Put your boo-boo stick into the first dot and drag it all the way to the center. That will create the wet on wet method. And you'll do that to all sides until you get it all done. And how fun is that design? Next, we're going to do the mitten. So you'll grab that white piping frosting again, and you'll outline the entire cookie. Grab your white flooding consistency and go ahead and fill your cookie. Again, start on the outer edges, go all the way around and work your way into the center. Grab your boo-boo stick and make those small circles to drag the flooding consistency to the edges. For this next part, grab your red flooding consistency, and we're going to be doing some lines straight across the glove. You can play with this design, but I added 3 lines of red, and then I grabbed my light green flooding consistency and I put them in between the red lines to add a little bit more color. Grab your boo-boo stick. You're going to start on one edge and you're going to do a zigzag through the lines to get that wet on wet fun design. Next, grab your stocking and you're going to outline your cookie with your piping consistency, and then you'll grab your flooding consistency and fill in that bottom part first. Then grab your boo-boo stick, make those small circles and drag it to the edge of your cookie, and go at whatever pace that you're most comfortable with. If you need to pause, fast forward, or rewind through any of these parts, please feel free. This is a go at your own pace class. While the cookie is still wet, I added 3 dots and then 2 red lines, and then I grabbed my boo-boo stick and I started at the top and dragged it down to make 3 hearts. My middle heart did not really make the design that I wanted, and so how I fixed the problem was I just dragged those tops out with my boo-boo stick. It will literally fix your boo-boos that you make with your cookies. Use that boo-boo stick as much as you need. Then you'll grab your red flooding consistency and you'll fill that top part of your cookie. Again, start on the outer edges and work your way in. Grab your boo-boo stick, make those tiny circles to drag the icing to the edges. And there you have a cute little stocking. So we're going to be working on our wreath cookie next. Grab your white piping consistency and you're going to outline your circle cookie. Now grab your flooding consistency, and again you're going to be flooding starting around the outer edges and working your way into the middle. Grab that boo-boo stick and make those small circles to drag the icing to the edges. Next, you'll grab your light green flooding consistency while the white is still not dry. You're going to make some dots in a circle, and then grab your boo-boo stick. You're going to place it in the center of one of the dots and then just draw a circle through all of the dots. I did it 2 times just to get that nice wreath look. You'll let this dry to add the berries, or if you don't want it to be dry, if you want it to be a complete wet on wet cookie, you can add the red while the cookie is still wet. And there you have your adorable wreath. Next is one of my favorites. We are going to be working on the ornament. So grab your red piping consistency. You're going to do an outline around the edge of the cookie. Get your white piping consistency and outline that top part of the ornament. Grab your red flooding consistency, and again you're going to be working on those outer edges first and filling in the rest until you get to the center. Grab your boo-boo stick and make your small circles to get to the edge of the cookie. While the cookie is still wet, grab your white piping or flooding consistency. On this one, I did use my piping consistency because I added a little bit too much extra red flooding consistency and I didn't want to make it too heavy. So I did my piping consistency, grabbed my boo-boo stick, started at one edge, and made those zigzags to get this fun design. You can leave the top part as a hook look, or you can fill it in with your white flooding consistency. Grab your boo-boo stick to fix any edges that are sticking out, and there you have your cute ornament. Thank you for joining me for the Wet on Wet class. Again, go through this at your own pace, fast forward, pause, and rewind as you need.